It's more of a bigger conversation on just how we view food and how we view our wellness goals, period. Hey guys, I'm Autumn and I'm with The Green Room. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's in nutrition and human performance. On my YouTube channel, I talk a lot about the science-backed information on how you can achieve your wellness dreams through food and different types of strategies that you can use in everyday life. You know, it's a really fine line. I'm personally not, my emphasis is in sports nutrition, so I'm not as versed in eating disorders, but it is also a fine line because I think that there's a lot of helpful information out there that can get blocked through social media by good intentions, like where perhaps if we put a ban on certain types of words, or like, for example, anorexia, if we put a ban on anorexia where those words can't be searched or they can't be monetized, for example, on YouTube, it makes it so that all types of information that could be helpful for someone or detrimental for someone is blocked. I have a couple of YouTuber friends who shared their experience on eating disorders in the past on YouTube, and it got demonetized, which also, could mean that they are less encouraged to share their experience and to help someone out there that could really need that help. I know I did a video on eating disorders with someone who's a therapist, and that got demonetized as well. And it's a fine line because I totally see how there are some triggering things for people. Again, I'm not an expert in eating disorders, but I also think that it could also do more harm than good of completely blocking everything.
So I totally understand. I totally get it, because on TikTok, there's these people who are adamant about recovery, and then there's these people who are promoting restrictive eating, calorie counting, over-exercising, and that can also lead to the female athlete triad. I don't know. Have you ever experienced that before, where it's borderline eating disorder?
Yeah, well, that really goes down to even beyond eating disorders and just the culture around food in general. That's something that actually is something on my channel I talk a lot about, is not counting calories, not exercising to that point of where you're going to harm your body. It's more of a bigger conversation on just how we view food and how we view our wellness goals, period, where we think that in order to achieve our goals, we have to hurt ourselves or harm ourselves or be hungry or be exhausted in order to be at a healthy state. So, it's great that you're doing this documentary because it's such a big, big topic that it's really hard to answer with just a few sentences, I mean, I personally never suffered from an eating disorder, but I have family members who have, and I've had close friends who have. And from what I understand, it's such a highly competitive thing where, it's people always comparing yourselves to others, and especially when it comes to something like an eating disorder where it's a number and a weight, and it's you can always get quote unquote lower to the point where it's very, very, very unhealthy and dangerous. It's difficult because especially in high school and in middle school, when a lot of those eating disorders really begin, that's when you're at the most impressionable age where you are really comparing yourself to others, and you don't understand that there really is I think as you get older, you start to compare yourself less to others and more to yourself and just being better than the day before. And I think that's why those eating disorder issues can happen at such an early age, because you are at that more impressionable stage. It's not something I've personally experienced, so I can't really speak on what they would feel, but from what I've seen with others, it is a lot of comparing yourself to others and by unrealistic standards that just don't make sense, and it's not healthy.
Do you ever, as a nutritionist, with your clients, do you ever kind of get frustrated? Not because they have goals, but maybe because their goals have been influenced by this diet culture and these unrealistic expectations from the media?
Yeah, I don't think it's so much the unrealistic expectations from media anymore. I think that the media has gotten better in recent years, especially from when I was younger. It was a lot different than it is now, where now it shows a more variety of different people, which is great, and different body types and shapes. But I do think that it comes down to the diet culture of the fact that people think that calorie counting is the way to health. And that, I think, is where a lot of eating disorders can come from, is that inherent idea that counting calories is how you're going to achieve a weight loss goal. I mean, thankfully for me, most of my clients, by the time they find me, they first go through my YouTube channel and they see, one of the first videos I have is why you should not count calories and why this is actually not going to help you achieve your goals. And, it's that whole re-education process where by the time they get to me, they already have that understanding of this is not the way. And in fact, counting calories not only can be harmful to your health and mental health, obviously, but it also can backfire and make you gain weight in the end by constantly restricting yourself, constantly being in that state of starvation, and make it very easy to gain back that weight. So there are some times that I do deal with clients where it's still a difficult thing to wrap your head around, that counting calories is not a good thing and that it actually is not going to help achieve your goals. But the biggest thing for when I work with a client is that once they actually see that difference of how they feel and how they look and how they are able to achieve their goals when they aren't counting calories versus when they are, that's when it really clicks. Whew. Well, other than the simple fact of everyone deserves to be happy and healthy, it's just the natural way that we should be living. We shouldn't be in a state of constant starvation. That's not the way our bodies were designed. When we restrict ourselves to such an extreme, a lot of really scary things happen. Not just to mention with hormone issues, which, for most people who are in their teens, they don't really think about that. But even in their 20s, it starts to become a big issue when people are thinking about having kids. That becomes an issue where a lot of people are facing fertility issues because of that. But even just how we function in everyday life, how we can perform, how we can actually, have a positive mental state, which improves our outlook on every aspect of life. My background also is in anxiety. That's something that I really suffered with and still deal with to this day. And through food and actually providing yourself the proper types of foods, that can also help to make it so you can decrease your risk of anxiety and actual well-being. And I think for most people, it's not that people want to be, skinny. I think it's that people want to be happy. And if we're happy, it doesn't really matter what everything else is going on because we're happy, right? And we can't be happy if we're constantly restricting and starving ourselves because we physically are not giving ourselves those nutrients that our brain, that our heart, that everything needs to even feel those happy sensations. I think it can be, like I mentioned, a fine line because there's still the health issue. There's a reason why people want to lose weight as well, and it's not always a bad thing. And I think that can almost swing the opposite way, where people feel like that they feel bad if they do want to lose weight and they do want to achieve a healthy weight and a wellness goal. So I think it's good to show both sides and show how there can be that middle ground where you can have the desire to lose weight because you want to be healthy, but it's also important to not have those types of negative feelings around food that make it so it turns into where you're swinging the opposite side. You're no longer in that healthy state, and it's hurting your mind, it's hurting your body, and it's hurting your life.